Hey everyone, it's Brett, and I am back with Charity, and it's Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's Day. I told Charity before we started, I said, you can tell I'm a single guy because it didn't even occur to me that today was Valentine's Day, and you might want to spend the day with your hubby.
Well, and you could also tell I've been married for 18 years because it never even occurred to me to not report on Valentine's Day. It's really just kind of another day.
Does it kind of feel that way about things like this?
Yeah, I mean...
It's still special to you, but...
Valentine's Day has never been something that we've really put a ton of emphasis on.
Yeah.
Now, with my kids, I do try to do some things for them, so I'll have to leave here and go find them some little Valentine's Day gifts.
Yeah.
Because they think they need candy and,
Even Valentine's Day, it becomes more about the kids than...
Every holiday is really more about them than it is about us at this point.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
It is.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Bookish Introverts Podcast. Join host Amazon bestselling author Brett Nelson and avid reader Melanie Dyer as they dive in to review books they've read, then chat with the amazing authors behind them. Quiet minds, big bookshelves. You don't want to miss it.
For Cody and I, though, we try to focus, like, our anniversary. We try to make sure that we do something special on that day. And then our birthdays, we try to do something together,
Yeah.
But otherwise, all the rest of them, we pretty well focus on the kids.
Life becomes about the kids.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
And to this day, it thrills me to death to get an Easter basket from Mom.
I love that your mom still gives you an Easter basket.
She doesn't do it every year now, but it still gives me just a thrill.
I always loved my Easter basket, and I do try to do things for my kids on Easter.
Yeah.
Usually I use that as an opportunity to get, like, swimsuits for the upcoming, because usually that's right before we're starting, like, swim lessons and stuff, and so it's a good time to kind of restock those kind of things. And
yeah.
I try not to get a bunch of just random junk or toys, but, like, things I'll actually use. So
yeah, practical stuff.
Yeah, but still fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. So before we get too far into this, I want us to kind of talk a little bit to a special listener that we have.
Sounds good.
I posted a little bit about it yesterday on Facebook, so you kind of know. We have a listener that listens to us a lot. And she contacted us yesterday via email and told us that she's in the hospital. She's been in the hospital for about 3 months. Her name is Marilyn. She lives in Vermont. And the nature of her illness prevents her from being able to read as much as she likes. She's a former literature teacher. Mm-hmm. And so reading has just been a huge part of her life. Yeah. Not only reading, but teaching people. And so she's got to where she's been reliant upon her book fix with audiobooks, which she says, I really don't like audiobooks. She said, I love your podcast because the deep dives that you do into the book, she said, I really enjoy that. And so you just never know.
You really don't. You really don't. And it just blessed my heart to read just a little snippet that you shared with us. And just to know that in some way the Lord is using what we do to encourage someone somewhere. That's the whole hope, that we can point people to Christ and be an encouragement. And so that blessed me. And
it did.
She was so kind and so sweet in that email. And so, Miss Marilyn, we hope that today finds you well and that you enjoyed this episode.
Yes, absolutely.
Podcast.
Now we're going to dedicate this episode to Marilyn. Marilyn, this one is dedicated to you. But we are going to do another thing for Marilyn.
Okay.
She has requested a specific author that we read one of their books and talk about it.
Oh, who is it?
So, I'm blank. It's Connelly Cosette.
Okay.
Connelly Cosette.
She
said it didn't matter which book. She's historical fiction. Okay. She's Christian historical fiction.
I'm going to look her up on Goodreads.
Okay. Yeah, she said, I don't care which book. She said, but she's one of my favorite authors. I would love to hear you guys talk about one of her books. Now, I have heard of her. At some point, I did want to read one of her books. So we're going to do that for you in the future, Miss Marilyn. We're gonna read.
Great.
Yeah, email me if if you have a favorite book, one you'd really like us. She did say in the email it didn't matter to her, but if there's one that's really close to your heart that you'd like to hear us read and talk about, let me know and we will make it happen for you.
And thanks for turning us on to another author.
Absolutely, yeah.
Praying that he heals you and that you're just encouraged and lifted up.
Yeah. Well, and I want to say, as a podcaster, sometimes it can feel like do you feel like sometimes we're talking into a void?
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking, we're not really talking to anybody except ourselves.
Yeah, and sometimes I think like, well, if nothing else, Brett and I got to have a really cool conversation,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah, and I can look at our analytics behind the scenes and see exactly how many people download, how many people listen. But it really encourages us as podcasters when our listeners read to, because it actually puts a face to our listeners.
Exactly.
Even though I don't know what Marilyn looked like, her email didn't include a picture, but just hearing her voice and hearing what she appreciated about our podcast, it kind of puts a face and a voice to one of our listeners.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for reaching out to us. Your email actually encouraged us too.
It did very much.
So so be looking out for it. We are going to do Conlon Cosette coming up soon. Is it Cosette or Cosette?
I'm not sure.
I've heard it pronounced both ways. Yeah.
I'll have to see if I can.
Mine goes to Cosette because my grandma had a poodle back in the day, and she named it Cosette.
Did she really?
Yeah.
I have never heard it as a name.
Yeah, I kind of think it's probably Cosette.
Cosette.
Cosette kind of makes more sense to me.
But see, it looks like Rosette, like the way you would spell Rosette.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Except it has two S's. I don't know.
So Miss Marilyn, if you know how to
you're
pronounce
a literature teacher. How do we pronounce her name?
Tell us how to pronounce the name. I don't know, and maybe we could even get the author to come on.
That would be awesome.
How cool would that be?
That'd be very cool.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, Marilyn, thank you for listening to us, reaching out. We love and appreciate you so much, and we are just praying for whatever you're going through. We are praying for the Lord to touch you because our God is powerful enough to do that.
He absolutely is.
He absolutely is. So, what's next?
So
There was something else I was wanting to bring up. Oh, okay. One thing I do want to ask about, it's not related to the podcast. You got a little side gig going on.
I do.
Tell us about it. You've been into it for about about a month?
About a month and a half.
How's
now,
it
I guess.
going? Tell everyone what you're doing.
I am baking for just any customers locally that want to order, and then also I've been very blessed with a friend that owns a coffee shop, and I'm baking a few things for their coffee shop each week. So scones and bagels are kind of the things we're focusing on right now.
Okay.
So I'm making those homemade, and they're selling them in the coffee shop, and it's going really well.
Yay.
And then I'm baking like bread and cookies, and the new thing this week I've learned to make and sold some of was some sourdough pretzel bites. They're really good, but very dangerous because it's really easy to like just grab a handful.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, how many calories is that? We're not going to count those.
Yeah, we're not going to count them. We're not going to think about it.
But it's going really well. I'm super excited. And, you know, it's funny. My dad was really the encouragement behind that. I made so this all started like a couple years ago. Cody wanted me to start learning to make bread. Mm-hmm. We've kind of fallen down the rabbit hole of reading labels and figuring out what's in our food, and it's a little bit terrifying.
It is terrifying.
What is in our food?
Yeah.
And bread was one of those things.
It's no wonder Americans are so sick.
Oh yeah, there's virtually zero nutrients in most of the stuff on the shelf.
That's terrifying. And I'm the world's worst. I'm a single guy. I'm the world's worst at convenience food.
Just
something that I can just heat up or
We've been trying really hard in the last few years to kind of make better choices, find more nutrient dense ways to feed our family. And making my own bread was one way to do that. But since then, my whole family I've just kind of the bread lady for our family events and stuff. So I make our rolls.
There's nothing better than homemade bread. Oh.
It's so good. And so like I made rolls at Thanksgiving, and my dad is obsessed. Like my dad is he's not even a bread eater usually, but
really
he like would not stop on them. And so like then called me a few weeks later. He's like, I need a pan of rolls. Can you bring them to church on a Wednesday? And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I can.
What, like that. For him? Or
just for him to eat.
Wow.
Because he said, I'm not sharing them with anybody. Bring them to my office. I said, okay. So I made a pan of rolls. I took them into him. And then he had a board meeting that night, and he took them to the back and did end up sharing them.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess 2 or 3 of the board members were like, does she sell these? Because we would buy them.
Yeah.
And this was all right after Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. And I ended up, Dad was like, you should start a little business. I think you could do really well. And I kind of wrestled around with it, and finally it's like, well, I'm just going to try and see what happens. And I have literally just been baking ever since. So I'm thankful. It's been a really fun thing to do. It's
now, do you sell out of the house too, or mostly out of the bakery?
Well, no, like I bake for the coffee shop, right now, and that's just kind of a separate thing for them. But everything else, it's done out of the house. It's called, I guess, like a micro bakery.
Oh, okay.
And it falls under cottage laws and rules. So I do have some things that I have to follow for the state that I live in, rules that they have. But it's just been really fun. I get to kind of, especially with like the scones, I get to really play with flavor combinations.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. So the kids really like it too, because any extras I have, they get to chow down on them.
They get to sample.
Glorious, yeah.
Not so good at our age when you've got the middle-aged spread and everything
listen.
makes you fat, but...
And the sweets are not really a concern for me. I don't really have a hard time with that. Even bread, most of the time, I don't have a hard time. Like, I'll have a sandwich every now and then or a slice of toast in the morning, but it's not hard for me to say no. But these dang bagels... I love a bagel, and they're good. Like, not to toot my own horn, but they're good.
I have never had a homemade bagel.
Well, I'm going to make you some next time I come.
And I'll bring you some. Love a good bagel.
You like everything, or plain, or blueberry?
I've never met a bagel I didn't like.
Okay, well, then I'll just bring you some next time. Because I was not sure. I was scared. Like, I tried to test every recipe first.
Yeah.
And I was just not sure how they were going to turn out. And they're a little bit labor intensive. Like, there's kind of a lot of steps to them.
Yeah.
And I got them done, and you're supposed to wait for them to cool completely. That's the hardest part about homemade bread, is waiting for it to cool.
Yeah.
So I let them sit. And so finally I was like, I'm cutting into one of these because I got to see if this is any good.
Yeah.
And I baked that sucker, or toasted it, and put some cream cheese on it. And I took one bite, and I was like, oh, I should not have done that. Because now I'm going to want to eat
I'm going to eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
oh my gosh.
it's been a lot of fun,
it.
and it's really interesting. My sisters are like, well, the Lord is just kind of giving you a gift for this. And I'm like, it seems like a funny thing to say about baking, because it's just a hobby I enjoy, and I like to feed my family. But I do sort of feel like feeding people has always been something that it's a way I show love.
Yeah, that's your love language.
It kind of is. Like, if I love you, I will feed you.
Yeah, and eating is my love language. I will eat the food you bring.
Come to my house anytime.
Yeah. Now, for our listeners that might be local, we are very careful to try not to mention our hometowns, because there's a lot of psychos in the world. I kind of like to think in Christian, I like to think we probably have Christian listeners, and they're probably normal people.
And it's maybe safe.
And it might be safe. Tell them the name of the. Do you want to tell them the name of the coffee shop in case anyone local wants to go there?
It's literally just the coffee shop.
Oh, it's the coffee shop. Yeah. Okay.
And so it is. That's all it's called, and it's right there on the main drag in my hometown.
If you're in the Fort Smith area, neither one of us are in Fort Smith, so we'll say the Fort Smith area. If you're in the Fort Smith area and would like to try this coffee shop out, and you want to know exactly what town it's in, let us know, and we'll let you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, unless you're comfortable telling people the town it's in.
I don't.
But, yeah.
I think I've said it before. I'm not meant to. Muldrow, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so it's right there on the main drag. And
usually, if we accidentally say the name of our town, I bleep it out.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I kind of mute it out. So, but yeah, it's in Muldrow, Oklahoma.
It would be really good business for them. My friends own it. They do a fantastic job. Very high quality.
They're good
stuff.
Christian people.
They're great people. And so I think that, this is so cool. This week they partnered with the Cherokee Community Center in Muldrow, and those two businesses, along with a lot of community members that donated items, they made 1,300 Valentine's bags. So every single kid in that school system, in the public school system in that town, got a Valentine.
Wow.
Delivered to school.
Oh, I love that.
And so that's just kind of the heart they have. Super generous. They love the community. And that's why it's so fun to partner up with them, and to get to be a part of what they're doing is pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. And I love supporting local businesses.
It's really important. If you guys have mom and pop shops in your towns, they need your support way more than any big chain does.
Yes.
And so if they do things really well, talk them up, tell your friends, go support their businesses, because that's how we keep our little towns alive.
Yeah, and a lot of times when we get coffee, sometimes our podcasts go a little long, our episodes go a little long, so we like to have something to drink with us, and a lot of times when we get coffee, Jessica's the coffee person, and there's a little one right down the house from me called Perk.
Good. It's so good.
Yeah, well, somebody from Butterfield owns.
And they came to Muldrow for a while.
Yeah. Well, in fact, one of their relatives is on the praise team at your church.
Yes.
Yeah. So
wonderful
and
beautiful.
They're good Christian people, and
the
so,
coffee is excellent.
So I love supporting Christian businesses and local businesses.
Yes.
I heard somebody on Facebook, and they're the sweetest person, but they made the comment that Walmart has put small businesses out of business. I don't agree with that. Walmart didn't put anybody out of business. People that will only shop at Walmart and will not shop at small businesses, they're the ones that are putting small business. People are putting small business out of business because they will only shop at Walmart.
We get to choose where we spend our dollars.
Yeah, and I get it. A lot of times, especially at smaller boutiques, so their prices are not as cheap. But guess what? The clothing may be a little bit more expensive, but it's probably a lot higher quality than what you're going to get at Walmart. So
yeah, and so I think that you're right. It's important, and I understand, like, in this economic environment,
you have to make the best
choices.
Financial choices,
right?
Yeah.
But I think when we can, it's important that we support local, that we certainly support Christian, and that, you know, because a lot of those, most of the Christian business owners I know are really, they're very conscientious about turning around and putting that money back to use in the kingdom in some way.
Yes.
And so I think it's very important that we try to support each other in that.
Yeah.
There's our little side spiel for
Absolutely.
today. But thanks for talking me up. It's fun. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, and I don't think I've ever. Mom and I may need to go check out that what's it called again? The coffee shop.
Yeah, it's really good.
Is it on the main drag?
It is.
Okay.
It used to be the old Napa Auto Parts store.
Oh, okay.
But they've redone it, and it's really cute.
Okay.
And then, if you're not a coffee drinker, their teas are really, really good. And then they also do the Lotus energy drinks, and I really like those.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And they have the super cool machine in there where she can, like, make anything you want and put it in cans, and you can get like a 4-pack or a 6-pack of cans that you can keep in your fridge, which is handy.
Okay, I would really love to have something in butterscotch. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, she can totally do that.
Years ago, the major coffee chain that we all know from Seattle, I don't really support them much anymore.
I don't like their coffee.
Yeah, well, their coffee's kind of bitter, and I just don't support the things that they support.
Sure.
Yeah, and when you buy from them, you're supporting the things they support, even if you don't support.
Agree
You know what
with
I'm
them.
saying?
Yeah.
And so, but it was called a smoked butterscotch. It was one of their fall offerings several years ago, and I absolutely fell in love with it.
It was good.
Yes, it was fantastic. And I drank my weight in those during the time that they had, and they've never brought it back since.
I bet if you went into Perk and told them what you wanted, they could come up with something.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, I never thought about that. But usually when I ask about it, well, do you have anything butterscotch? They're usually like, well, no, but we've got toffee, which is similar, but it's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. So yeah, so the coffee shop, Perk, whichever one of you accommodates me first, I will come. I will come and buy it.
Yes, it's good.
Yeah. So all right, well, let's get into the book. Man, this was a great book. Tell them what we read.
Okay, we read a book called Under the Tulip Tree by
Michelle Shocklee.
Yes.
Shocklee. This was the first time to read her. Yep. She's been on my TBR for a while because she's very popular in Christian fiction.
Honestly, I can see why.
Yeah, phenomenal writer.
I was a little getting into it. It was a little slow for me.
Yeah.
But man, there hit a point in that book where I was like, I cannot put this down.
Yeah, once you hit it.
I stayed up late because I just couldn't stop reading.
Yeah.
And I had to know what was coming. And so I love a book like that just grabs you and draws you in.
It grabs you in and you can't let it go. Now, I will say in the beginning, this could have some themes that are uncomfortable for some people.
It's heavy.
I love books like this. Yes. I love heavy things. I don't shy away from heavy themes.
Right.
It does deal with slavery. Mm-hmm. One of the main characters, he was a former slave, yes. And our main character, Lorena, the book starts in October 1929. Right, they're in Nashville, and it's right before the stock market.
It's the day of the stock market crash.
It's the day of the stock market crash.
Yeah.
Laura and her family, her dad's a very prominent banker, so their family's very prominent in the community.
It's set in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So it's still the South.
It's still the South, yeah.
And you know what didn't dawn on me until I was reading this was like how, because in my mind, like slavery times and the stock market crash were super far apart. Like for some reason I had that super far apart in my head, but it's not. It's only like 2 generations.
Yeah.
And so that kind of reframed, like even how I think about times now, like it was not that long ago.
In the grand scheme, it really wasn't.
People in our country owned other people, and that is bizarre to me. But also in light of all the stuff that's coming out in the news and things right now, apparently still happens all over the globe.
Which is shocking.
It makes me ill.
Yeah. It is absolutely despicable.
It is. It truly is.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there are... there are some sick people in the world.
Did you see that as you were reading it? Like, because my mind just kept going to like everything that's happening right now and being like, oh my gosh, this is still happening.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not to the degree of like with the physical labor, but the more, to me, perverse sides of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that is still happening.
And maybe this is just me being like, this is one reason why okay, worship is probably a little bit of a heavy word, but I can't think of another word. I don't do the celebrity worship thing.
No, I think that's an appropriate word, because I think that is a thing.
It is a thing, yeah. And like the biggest people that are into that sort of stuff, that we're just it's the rich and powerful.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'll even take it a step further. You know what show I have a major issue with, and I won't hardly watch just because of the name?
What?
American Idol.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time, and I haven't watched it in years.
I used to love it.
From day one had an issue with the name of that show.
Making anybody an idol.
Making anybody, anything, an idol above the Lord is a problem.
Yes. I mean, let's be honest. This right here is an idol to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And I struggle. I have to like...
For listeners, I'm holding up my cell phone. This is an idol for a lot of people.
In fact, yesterday, Cody tried to call me twice at the end of the day, and I just wasn't. I had laid it down. I've been trying to be more intentional of like not being on it all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I had laid it down, and I didn't even realize it. And so when he got home later, I was looking at something for him, and I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize you called me. He goes, no, honestly, I'm glad that you have been laying it down more.
Yeah.
Because it's a conscious, like, I have to think about it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just get tangled up in that phone, and
it is,
then you lose hours of your life, and you're like, where'd the day go?
Yeah. Well, and I'm even trying to, like, I've never been one of those people that's on social media all the time, even though I never really felt like I was obsessed with it. That was one of my goals for 2026, was to not be on social media much, and to not post as much political stuff.
And you have done very well.
I have a couple times, but you know what I've learned? I've learned when it comes to posting, I don't post stuff to be divisive or to be ugly.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when I post things, it's because I'm reacting to something stupid that somebody else posts that I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it has to do with moral, like things that, because my moral...
You can't just let that go.
No, my moral system is based off of the Bible. You know, not saying I'm a perfect religious, but I've learned... if there's something that I read that I really want to respond to, I'll type it up. I'll go to Facebook and I'll type it up, and then I'll set it down for 15 or 20 minutes.
And then come back.
And then by the time I come back to it, I'm like, it's not that important. Mm-hmm. I've learned that if you don't react in the moment, even just as much as 15 or 20 minutes.
Sometimes it's hard, though.
Oh, it is. When people post stuff that goes against the Christian values that I value, I tend to want to react to it.
Right. I think that's maybe just something that the Lord has put in you, that need to like stand up for what you think is right, for what you know to be true.
Yeah.
I'm much more passive. And so it's very easy for me to read it, disagree with it, and just be like, well, because I guess, and maybe I shouldn't be this way, but I always feel like nothing I say is going to change anybody's mind.
It's not, especially on social media.
Like, I just feel like those types of conversations have to be had face to face in order to really be effective. Mm-hmm. So I don't struggle with that, but maybe sometimes I should speak out more. You know?
See, that's sort of where I come from. If Christians don't speak up, the other side's the only one talking.
Yeah, and so I think this book really is a great example of that, of like, even just going back, I know it's fiction, but a lot of it was based on true events.
Yes.
Based on like the Battle of Nashville and things like that. And so I think had those abolitionists not spoken out, that slavery is inherently wrong.
Yes.
Would we still be a nation of slave owners today?
True.
And so I think that you're right. We have a duty and a responsibility to speak out when we see injustice.
Yeah.
I think, but like you said, knowing the time, the place, the format.
Yes.
All of those things is important.
Honestly, social media is not the place to do it, because people on social media are so volatile. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, there are people on social media, like, their whole goal is to attack people and to be mean to people. And that I'm trying to improve on it. People will have to forgive me if I fall on my old ways.
I think you're doing well.
But Yeah. So anyway, Lorena, she's a reporter for a newspaper.
Well, yeah. So when the book first starts, it's the very first chapter is Lorena's 16th birthday. Is the day of the stock market crash, and they're planning a big birthday party. And they're like well-to-do in society.
And is there any worse thing? I mean, like there's nothing that puts a damper on your birthday like the stock market crash.
I mean, yeah. And so even because as you move, like it ruins their whole life basically. Her dad goes from this very well-respected banker to like apparently he mismanaged the funds of several of the family's acquaintances and friends.
Yeah.
They lost everything. They did still maintain their house.
Yes. So really they lost not only their financial comfort,
their social standing.
They lost their social status, they lost their friends.
Yeah.
Because he mismanaged their money.
And he becomes a drunk.
Yeah.
And so then the very next chapter, it's like 7 years later, I think, and Lorena had been writing for the school paper before that, so we know that she's already a writer. And then she had gotten a job at a local paper. And really loved it, but had dreams of writing for big news or big magazines, right?
Yes.
Like Life or things like that.
There was one she mentioned named Collier's. I had never heard of Collier's.
I've never heard of
and this is kind of why I love reading historical fiction, because you get to learn things. So the first thing I did when I read, I was like, is that a real thing? Is that something the author made up? Well, apparently that was a real thing. It was a very influential American general interest magazine, famous for its literature, journalism, and distinctive illustrations.
Okay.
So, like a major life ambition for her was to be a writer for Life magazine or Collier's.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
We know that Lorena has a sister, and so her sister Mary is in throughout the book at different points with her children.
Yeah.
We hear a little bit of her story. It's not great. It's kind of sad.
It's kind of sad.
Kind of a sad story.
Yeah.
Her mom and her seem to have they love each other. You can tell they love each other, but they are kind of very opposite. It seems to me.
Yeah.
And they don't see eye to eye on much.
On anything. Yeah.
But they all still, she and her mom and dad still live in the family home. Their grandmother has been helping pay the bills. Yeah. And this is something else I didn't realize. Like in my mind, when I think about that period of time, the Great Depression and all of that, I guess I had in my head that everybody was just dirt poor. But I guess, a lot of families maybe that were more well-to-do were not.
Right.
They were able to maintain some semblance of their way of life. And even she talks about how they know that they're blessed because they always had food to eat. They weren't having to stand in soup lines, things like that, which a lot of the nation did at that time.
Yeah.
But she does still wind up, she loses her job, and it wasn't that she wasn't doing a good job, it was just that because of the recession, they didn't have the money to pay her.
Yeah.
And she still would go every day she would go see her former boss and be like, can you hire me back? And he would be like, look, I can't. And so finally she just asked him, she's like, if the economy weren't so bad, would you hire me back? And he tells her look, I really would, because you're very gifted. Mm-hmm. So she goes in, and then one day to do the same thing, and he gives her a job description and is like, hey, I think you would be great for this. And it's through the Works Progress Administration, which was...
Had you heard of that before this book?
I had.
Okay, see, I hadn't.
Yeah, because even around here, a lot of bridges and different things like that were built during that as part of the Works Progress Administration.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I had heard of it just because
basically it was, I can't remember which president, they said
Roosevelt.
it here. Was it, Roosevelt. And basically the government created this administration in the hopes that it would help people to get jobs. Yeah.
Basically the government subsidized jobs for people who didn't have any anymore.
Yeah.
And so she takes it and is reading on it and figures out that the job that she would be doing, it was with the Federal Writers Project. They wanted them to do interviews with former slaves about their experiences as slaves. And in my mind, I'm like, this is 1929. Like I said, it wasn't that long ago, really. I mean, 2 generations.
Yeah.
But they knew that they had a short window of time to kind of get these interviews in before all of the people who had lived that experience were gone.
Started dying out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lorena's really hesitant because we find out that her family had owned slaves before.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'm not really sure that I should.
She felt like she shouldn't be the one to tell that story since her family were slave owners.
Sure. And I could see that. I mean.
Not her immediate family, but family in the past.
Great-grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she talks to her grandmother about it and her grandmother, I love her grandmother. She's just this calm voice of reason.
Yeah.
but you can tell she's been through some things, and her mom, like Lorena's mom, is very prejudiced. You can tell just in the way that she behaves and talks about.
I can recognize a bad character in a book, but I don't necessarily. I see reviews where people are like, oh, 1 star because I didn't like a character.
Oh no, I think you have to have that because not every person is likable.
It's not real life for every character to be likable.
No.
Yeah. I mean, that wouldn't even be a fun read.
I mean, real talk, I have family members that I don't
True.
really like.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that. But
Yeah, they were used to a very lavish lifestyle. And so Mom did not like. Of course, this was in a day when women didn't work as much. Maybe at this point in history that women were starting to work more.
Yeah.
But her mom was very resistant to Lorena taking this job because she felt like it was beneath her.
Yes, beneath her. And she felt like she should be focusing on finding a husband.
Yes. Yes. And in today's world, it's so... Nobody is encouraging their 16-year-old kid to go out and get married these days.
Listen, Cody and I just had this conversation last night because Barrett's birthday is tomorrow and he's turning 13. And I'm just like, I just told him, I was like, I have this pit in my stomach because it just hit me like I have 5 more years before he's technically an adult.
Yeah.
And Michaela and I were on the phone.
And it's going to start thinking about things like marriage and
And so we were on the phone, Michaela and I talking about it, and she said, think about this. She goes, you have 5 more years before he's the age that you were when you and Cody got married. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That puts such a stamp of reality on
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which even, I mean, we've been married almost 18 years. We got married in 2007. And so, like, even then it was pretty, like, a lot of my friends were like, you are so young. Why are you getting married? Like, now, why are you doing this?
If you don't want to talk about this, you don't have to. But, like, is he... I know he's too young to probably have had any girlfriends, but has he started showing any interest in things like that? Or
okay, so this is a whole conversation at our house right now.
Okay.
I think that there is some interest there because you know that old saying, thou doth protest too much?
Yeah.
We're in that mode.
Okay.
Where he's like, girls are gross. I'm never going to have a girlfriend. And I'm like,
yeah.
You're saying too much, little man.
Exactly.
Like, you just say too much. And I think he probably does, but he will not fess up yet.
Okay.
And in fact, last week, they were sitting at the bar eating dinner, and I was working on something in the kitchen. And he started in with this, like, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids. I'm just going to be on my own. That way I can spend my money how I want, go on as many hunting and fishing trips as I want, but, all this stuff. And I was just kind of nodding my head, and he goes, did you hear me? And I said, I heard you. And I said, I'm marking it down because it's going to be a lot of fun when you come to me in a few years and some little girl has stolen your heart and you tell me you're going to get married.
Yeah.
And he's like, well.
But, like, the first time, like, say your first boyfriend, your first relationship, like, I felt very awkward telling my parents about my first girlfriend. Like, did you?
Oh, I was so awkward about it.
Yeah.
And he was so sweet. I actually was thinking about him. I don't even know what brought that up, but randomly, he just ran across my mind. I was like, why am I thinking about this?
Yeah.
But I just was like, he really was so respectful and so kind and did such a good job of, like, introducing me to what it was to have a relationship, right? And to be interested in someone.
Yeah.
But he was a boy that I went to church with. He was a couple years older than me, though. And so my dad had this rule of, like, you could not go on a date till I was 16. You could have a boyfriend, but the only place you were going to see him was at church. Or if they happened to come to the house. Mm-hmm. And so, like, we couldn't go anywhere. And in fact, we were boyfriend and girlfriend for 2 years, and we never went on a date because I didn't turn 16 until after we had already broken up.
Yeah.
But he was so kind to me, and, like, at Valentine's Day, I was so embarrassed, but also so excited. Like, he sent me roses and got me a piece of jewelry.
Wow.
And, like, just went all, and I mean, he didn't come from a whole lot either, so I knew that, like, he'd worked his butt off to get those things for me. Just so sweet and so kind. And so I kind of look forward to watching Barrett navigate that. But I'm also just trying to teach him, like, because he has a lot of friends that are girls.
Yeah.
And he'll say sometimes, like, Mom, the girls are just so much easier to talk to than the boys. And I'm like, yeah, always. Like, that's normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he'll just be like, I just can't imagine ever, like, liking anybody like that. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, sometimes it's, because a lot of his little friends have had girlfriends or, have girlfriends. And they think it's kind of strange that he hasn't yet.
Mm.
And so, but there's a lot of talk about it. They're just at that age now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just told him, I was like, Barrett, friends oftentimes make the best spouses in the future.
Yes.
So never discount that. Maybe it might not right away be all these butterflies and, like, this instant attraction to someone. I said sometimes that just builds over time. And really, in my mind, that's how the best relationships are. And I've just tried to teach them too that like even romantic love is a choice. Like there are days that I wake up and I want to like smother Cody with his pillow. And I'm sure he feels the same way about me some days.
If it wasn't a felony and I wasn't too pretty for prison, you would be in trouble.
Right?
Yeah.
But I also know that like marriage, I've been reading a book called Sacred Marriage by Gary Thomas. And he makes the point in there that marriage is not to make us happy, but to make us holy. And I think that is really interesting. Like, my husband should be pointing me to Christ, and I should be pointing him to Christ. And we should be able to call the things out in one another that need to be corrected. And when I was reading this book, because there is a small love story line in here, it was not prominent. I didn't think in this book. Yeah. But it's there. And that's the thing, like, they're challenging one another about these beliefs that maybe they shouldn't hold, or why do you feel this way? And so I loved that part of this book, too. Because I think it was very realistic. Like, you as you walk this story with them, you see them kind of, like, at first not like each other. Then they sort of become friends and have a respect for one another. And then that develops into admiration that maybe turns to more.
Yes, and that kind of romance, I don't mind. Because that's realistic.
Yeah.
That's not how romance is written these days.
No, a lot of times it's like, oh, she sees him from across the room, and her heart flutters, and her stomach hits the floor, and like, come on now.
It's just so eye roll.
Like, it is. And so that's what I'm trying to teach Barrett is like, be friends first, regardless. Yeah. Like, just be friends. And when it is time for you to start dating, then the whole point of dating is to get to know someone and to decide if that's someone that you think you could pursue a future with. Yeah. That's what dating is. Yeah.
Okay, now, Barrett, I do have a little bit of advice for you, though.
Let's hear it.
With my very first girlfriend, Monica, our family had gone to Branson for like a long weekend or for a week or whatever, I don't remember. Yeah. And I bought her a pendant that had, it had stones in it that looked like diamonds. They weren't diamonds because I was 16 years old and worked at McDonald's. Right. You know, so I bought her to her, and it was, it was pretty big, and but I bought it for her, gave it to her. I probably should have said, hey, this is not a $10,000 diamond pendant, but I just assumed
that she would know that.
Yeah, she would know, and so she put it in that ammonia cleaner, the jewelry cleaner, and so she came back a few days later, and she was like, well, I cleaned it, and it fell apart, and I was like, well, how'd you clean it? What'd you do? She put it, and I was so embarrassed, because.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, listen, I'll be working at McDonald's. I don't have do you really think I can afford that?
I did not go to Newton's to buy that necklace.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, of course, years later, we got a huge laugh out of it. I remember at the time being so embarrassed. So. Yeah. If you buy her fake jewelry, make sure she knows it's fake jewelry. Fake. Yeah. I mean, don't assume that she's going to know.
That is so funny. That's good advice. Good advice. Yeah. Yeah, no, that first relationship was very awkward. Yeah. I felt like, in all the ways. Like, he was so sweet. He was so good to me. Because when we started dating, I was in 8th grade and he was in 10th. And so the next year, like, I moved to 9th grade, which is like the big high school. Yeah. And I will not ever forget, I was so nervous that first day. Even though I knew a lot of the kids there from youth group, and like I knew that I would have people there that I could be like, hey, what do I do? Like if I got into a situation, you just don't know what to expect about high school.
Right, yeah.
And so that first day, though, I'll not ever forget it. Like, Dad dropped me off, and he was waiting for me. And he was like, okay, I'm going to walk you to your classes and make sure you know where to go. And he just made sure that I was okay. Yeah. And I was so thankful. Like, I was just so thankful to have someone like that in my corner. And like I said, he was a perfect gentleman and always so respectful. But I'll not ever forget the first time he held my hand was after church on a Sunday night. And we always went to Mazzio's to eat after church on Sunday nights. Like, it was a thing every week.
Best salad bar.
Best salad bar ever.
Not that you're really interested in the salad bar when you're 16, but...
I was. That was all I ate. No, okay. Yeah. I was nearly a vegetarian at that point.
Oh, okay.
And I loved it. So, but I will not ever forget, like, we sat down in the big round booth with all of our friends, and, like, it was so awkward because, like, my hand is sitting there and I know his hand is coming towards mine, and I just remember my face going bright red when he finally grabbed my hand. And my dad was, like, 2 booths over, and he's just looking at me with his eyebrows raised, kind of grinning.
And he knew what he was doing.
And he called me out as soon as we got in the car. When we got in the car, he goes, well, did that boy finally hold your hand? I said, yeah. guy.
And I'm just saying, there has to be a lot of pressure on a guy to date the pastor's daughter.
Yeah, I don't know. He moved away like after he graduated, and so I'm like, oh, it's been years since I've seen him. I have no idea if that was there or not. But he was very kind to me and very sweet. And so it's nice to have good memories to look back on. You know,
it is,
like not anything hinky, not anything yuck. Like, and there was not really even any. It was sad when we broke up, but
it was a good first experience.
It was a great first relationship,
and not everybody's that lucky.
Yeah, no, I know. So anyway, so Lorena does decide to take the job, and she gets this first assignment, and she has to go to Hell's Half Acre.
Yes.
Was that like? I hated that name.
And she gets $20 a week.
$20 a week?
Apparently that was a lot of money back then.
Yeah. But she decides to take it because she's like, we can use the money.
Hell's Acre.
Hell's Half Acre.
I'm guessing that's a real place.
I'm sure that it was.
That is nuts. I don't think.
Place.
I think if I would not buy a house in
you wouldn't want to live
Half
there.
Acre. Yeah.
But I think too, as we read along, we realize that was probably she didn't have a choice. Like it was probably one of the only places open to them.
Yeah.
So her first assignment is a lady named Frances Washington, and Lorena gets a ride with a gentleman named Alden Norwood. He also works for the Writers Project, and he's like, well, I'll just pick you up and drop you off because I've been there. Mm-hmm. And as we learn, it's sort of a rough neighborhood. It's not safe for her to really go alone. Mm-hmm. And so she's very nervous, but she goes to interview Miss Washington and immediately starts to realize that like she knew nothing about what slavery actually was.
Yeah. Well, and how many of us really do? Because there probably are very few people alive today that even knows anybody. I mean, that were actually alive to. Maybe there are a few that are alive that still remember it, but most of us today really probably have no idea what slavery really was.
Unless you've done a deep dive, via literature into what it was like. Most don't. And I will say this: I don't feel like it's something that's taught very well. And certainly not in the South.
Well, and I'll tell you, author got dinged with a lot of horrible reviews.
Really?
Yes. Well, because, again, we've talked about it before. Snowflake culture is alive and well in our society.
So they just don't want to face that this was an actual part of our history?
Well,
it happened.
How dare a white woman write a story about a black former slave forgiving the people that were horrible to her.
Oh.
That sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of people were offended that a white woman wrote this story.
Sort of like cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
I guess I could maybe see that a little. But I just thought it was so well done.
I guess I just don't think of stuff like that.
And that she was so respectful of the material. That's interesting to know that.
Now, very well reviewed book. There's a lot of great reviews, but yeah, the people that gave it the bad star reviews, they were offended by the fact a lot of them
a white woman wrote
from
the voice of a slave.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I can kind of get that.
Yeah.
I actually thought that this might be one that I will tuck back, and that when Barrett and Stella are a little bit older, we might use this as part of our school curriculum because I think it would be a really interesting way to kind of bring that part of our history to life.
Yeah.
And to give it a voice.
Give it a voice, yeah. And from a Christian perspective,
yes,
too.
Yes, yeah, I think so, certainly. So Frances, as a child, was called Frankie, and that's what most people refer to her as.
And she is such a sweet character.
Such a sweet character.
She is such a sweet character.
Immediately, I loved her from the get-go. And
but I will say it's a very uncomfortable read once you get into the story because it's kind of dual timeline. It's not really dual timeline, but
it's Frankie telling her story.
It's her telling her story, and some parts of it can be very uncomfortable to read. Yeah. But again, I don't shy away from uncomfortable.
No, I think it's important that we confront the ugly parts of history.
Absolutely.
Or like it says, we're doomed to repeat it. So,
yeah. Yeah.
It's necessary.
Yeah. So yeah.
Uncomfortable but necessary.
Yeah.
So Frances's mother was a house slave, which was a big deal. I didn't realize that was such a thing, that there was such a kind of, even within the slaves, a division between field slaves and house slaves, like a hierarchy.
Yeah.
And so she took
her mom was in the kitchen, which was not as bad as like being in the fields.
Yes. And was sort of like kind of a step up, and she was of an age that she was about the same age as their master's daughter, and so they decided maybe she could be a playmate for...
And the masters, they're Mr. and Mrs. Hall is their name, but they were referred to as Master and Mistress Hall in the book, so that may be how we refer to them throughout the story.
Yes. And so they check her out, and they're like, yeah, we think it'll be good. But that also made me really uncomfortable. Like, you're just going to, like, look at a kid like they're cattle and decide that, oh, yeah, she can be a playmate for our child. Like, I was very put off by that. But, you know, it happened.
It happened, yeah.
It's not the first account I've read of such things, so I'm sure it's true.
Yeah.
She ends up that first day, she's only 6.
Yeah.
And so she ends up that first day, they're in the parlor talking, and she's meeting the Halls, and she has an accident on the rug, and then her first kind of like first act of violence
against
herself.
Her.
Yes, and the mistress loses it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and at first I was a little bit puzzled by this. I was like, why? But then it hit me. She has grown up being basically a second-tier human, and so like she was not really they weren't allowed to hang around these people. They weren't allowed to be inside their homes, and so to be put into this home, not only in the home but interacting and playing with their daughter, I can imagine that would be terrifying for her because this was totally out of normal.
Yes. And what I also thought was really interesting was like in the interactions, the way the author wrote between Charlotte, the daughter, the master's daughter, and Frankie, like there's none of that. Like they're just two kids playing.
And isn't that how it is? Kids don't know the ugliness of the world until they learn it.
That's right. That's exactly right. So anyway, it happens that she has the accident and Mistress Hall disciplines her.
Yes.
In a very violent manner.
In a way that sticks with her through...
Yeah.
She has a physical deformity throughout her whole life because of it.
Yes. And, like, the master is there to see it. Their older son is there to see it. Charlotte sees it. Like, another house slave sees it. And it's a whole thing. And, like, it's just
And how humiliating.
Terrible.
And not only the physical pain of it, that's public humiliation.
Yes. Yeah. So that's where their first day of interviews ends, and Rena has been there much longer than she anticipated.
Because really, they're supposed to go in and out, be in a couple of hours,
like
and be done, go to the next one.
But she can't. She's just intrigued.
Well, but really, a valid, really good journalist, I can imagine, would have a hard time going in with just a set list of questions and just one and done.
Yeah.
Like for me, I would not be able. Yeah, you want to get to the heart of it. And really, in order to be able to get to the nuts and bolts of it, you really kind of have to hear the whole story.
Yeah.
In order to figure out what you need to know to write a good story.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Or at least for me as an author, that's how I would think of it.
Yes. So she goes back the next day to get some more information from Miss Frances, and they go right back into it, and she tells her that like the thing that intrigued her the most in Charlotte's room, because they do decide to give her another chance.
Yes.
Was the books.
The books.
Because slaves were not allowed to read.
I did not know that.
Oh,
did
really?
You?
Yes. No, I did know
Yeah,
that.
I did not know that.
That was a huge thing, a huge no-no.
Oh.
Because if they can read, then they can do anything, right? Like, reading is the key to the world.
If
you can read and write, then you can literally
You're
do
empowered.
anything. Yes, there is power in it.
Yeah. According to this, they weren't even allowed to read to slaves. So, like, not only were they not allowed to read, they couldn't even read to them.
Right, because Charlotte decides, well, I'll read you a story, and they're, like, playing like little girls, and so she has Frankie sit down, and she starts to read to her, and Mistress Hall comes in and sees it and loses her mind.
Yes.
And tells Charlotte she can never do that again, and that is not allowed. Well, of course, that just makes Frankie want all the more to read those books.
Yeah.
And so she winds up taking one of Charlotte's books and hiding it in the hollow of a tree.
Yeah, one day while the family's out, she goes into Charlotte's room, picks out a book, and hides it in the hollow of a tree so she can read, because she wants to teach herself to read.
Yeah.
So she wants access to a book anytime she can.
Yeah, and so then what happens?
So she goes out there, she gets this book. She's been doing this for months. Well, she falls asleep one day with the book. Well, somebody finds her, and of course it gets her in trouble. She gets in trouble. Well, the master and Mistress Hall find out. Well,
It wasn't so much the master.
It was the mistress. Yeah, she finds out and she is furious. So she sells Frankie into slavery.
Yep, she has her taken
7
to the
years
slave
old.
trader, takes her away from her mother, locks her up in the barn, and makes her stay there until the slave trader comes.
Puts her in chains in the barn until the slave traders get there. Yeah, and then so from that point on, Frankie never sees her family again. And that's one thing that was confusing to Lorena when she first started talking to Frankie.
Yes.
Because Frankie had made the comment.
She asked her how many brothers and sisters
How many
she had.
siblings she had. She said, well, as far as I know, 3 or 4, however many, she said. Well, Lorena was like, well, how can you not know how many siblings? Well, it's because she got sold into slavery when she was 7.
And she never saw her mother again.
She never saw her mother again, so she doesn't know how many children her mother had after she was sold into slavery.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah.
So as it happens, Frankie just becomes a little bit bitter from that point on and makes...
And why wouldn't she?
Yeah,
Who
I
wouldn't?
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
She kind of makes life harder on herself at times.
She does.
And
She's kind of a rambunctious.
Mm-hmm. And she's bounced from house to house, from owner to owner.
Had no stability.
None. And then as she got older, she realized that if she would allow certain things with her own body, that she could get extra food or certain privileges. And so, as a result, becomes pregnant a few times by her master, but none of the children live. Mm-hmm. And that broke my heart. Like, how sad.
Yeah.
And so at this point...
Well, and again, that would affect your whole outlook. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've never lost a child, but losing not 1 but 3... That in itself, on top of the pain of your family being in slavery and then being excommunicated from your family, all that, gosh, it's no wonder she would be bitter and angry.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning that her mama was a believer and prayed every night for their freedom. And so, at this point, though, Frankie's like, God doesn't care about me. Why would he let all this happen to me? Yeah. And she just kind of abandons faith in God. Yeah. For a while.
And again, understandable. Like you like to think as Christians that no matter what you go through, you would never abandon your faith. But if you were going to, I mean, this would be a situation where it would be understandable.
Yeah. So another point that's worth making is that slaves were not allowed to marry. Mm-hmm. But often they would take up with each other, is what Miss Frankie called it. Yeah. And they would form their own families and make their own vows to one another and be as a married couple. And I think in my eyes, like that's as good as marriage. Like, for sure. If they're just not allowed to marry because white people were being crazy, but they've made a vow before God and they're living as man and wife that way, to me that's as good as married. And I mean, so she takes up with a man named Moss from a nearby plantation, and they are together. And he convinces her to try to escape. Yes. Which that could get you in a lot of trouble. If you, as a slave, ran away from your masters, that's one of the worst things you could do. Like, you could literally lose your life for that. And Moss, in fact, does. And Moss does. Yeah. And that loss just devastates her. Yeah. This woman has had so much pain in her life. So much loss. Yeah. Yeah. And as Lorena is interviewing her, there are moments that she talks about she can see what it's costing Miss Frankie to go back and relive these things. Yeah. And I can't even imagine, the difficulty that would be. Yeah. Yeah, you're forcing someone to relive the worst time of their life. Yeah. So ultimately, because of the grief that she's dealing with, she just can't function. So her master's like, well, I'm done with you, and takes her to the slave market. They can't. Mm-hmm. She winds up selling for like $10, which is next to nothing. But the man who buys her is not as much of a reprobate as the others. Yes. He's a grocer. He gives her own space behind his store. And so she's not out in the field. She's working in a grocery store. Exactly. Yeah, so. And he gives her a shed to sleep in, plenty of food, and she slowly gains her strength back and is helping out. Yeah. But she's still in slavery. Mm-hmm. And she knows it. And I know $10 probably was a lot back then, but can you imagine having a dollar amount attached to your life? I mean, how degrading. Yeah. Every part of it really was. Yeah. I cannot imagine as a white person. Like, in my mind, I can't imagine living in a society where owning people is the norm. Is normal and is considered okay. Yeah. Because I think during that time, it was approved. I mean, it was... Yeah, I mean, it was just the norm. And really, so Stella's history lessons this year have been focused around the Civil War. And so we've done a lot of reading pertaining to it. And there was so much more to it. Like, economically, that is how the South functioned. So when slavery was abolished, it truly did devastate the entire economic system of the South. Because they didn't have a workforce anymore.
Oh, see, I've never studied it, so I would never have thought that.
So you have all of these plantation owners who relied on this free labor.
Because white people would never deign to do the jobs that they did.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're having to pay them to get this done. It truly did devastate the economy.
And
of the
having to give them a fair salary. Yeah. Reading this book is such an eye-opener. Like, I've read about the days of slavery in biblical fiction, but this is a little bit different.
Yeah, and so I've really...
maybe it's because we're closer to this time period than biblical days. I don't know.
Probably.
This felt a lot more uncomfortable than what I've read of slavery, like in biblical fiction.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, I think because we know more details, right? Of like...
True, yeah.
What actually went on and how terribly they were treated.
Yeah, it was a horrible... Those
terrible
people
thing.
were treated horribly, yeah.
So ultimately, around that time when all of that's going on, New Orleans winds up being taken by the Federals as part of the Civil War. Because this is actively happening. The war is actively happening. And all of these slaves are now freed. But they have nowhere to go. So they wind up in what was called a contraband camp.
Yes.
Because the slaves were considered contraband.
Yeah.
So
basically these contraband camps were if a slave ran away from their situation...
If they had gotten free that way, or if they were freed by the Federals.
Yes, then they went to these camps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so basically it was a way for them to also, they were trying to keep, the Federal, the Union soldiers were trying to keep them safe from being, because if their former masters found them, they would take them back.
They would, yeah. And they would probably be beaten, if not killed.
Yes. And so Frankie winds up there, and it's just outside Nashville, and it's not great. Like, the conditions are not great, but they're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And there she meets a Quaker woman.
She does get a job where she kind of makes her own money. Mm-hmm.
Yep, she's doing laundry.
Yeah, tell her about Illa.
Yeah, so she meets Miss Illa, who is a Quaker woman that is there to help. She wants to teach the slaves to read and write because she says when you're free, you're going to need to know these skills so that you can provide for yourself, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so that, you're not being taken advantage of or things like that. Mm-hmm. But Frankie's like, nope, because of her former experience, she wants no part of that. Mm-hmm. Wants no part of that. She just wants to go do the officer's laundry, do her job, earn her money, and go back to her tent and sleep. Yeah. She's trying to keep her head down.
And listen, I'm like that on a daily basis. By the time I spend all day at work dealing with people, I just want to come home and not talk to anybody for the rest of the night.
Yep. Yeah, I get it.
So I get it.
She meets Sam, who is an escaped slave, a freed man, that is traveling with Miss Illa. And he's all the time doing things for her. Which
makes her uncomfortable.
It does.
She doesn't like it.
She's very resistant. Mm-hmm. Very resistant to love, I would say, at this point.
Yeah.
Any kind of love.
Yeah.
But
and Sam is a super sweet guy.
Yeah.
He's
probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
Truthfully. Yeah. I really loved Sam. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of ends her story for the day there, and then Lorena and Alden, the next time they're there, he brings a camera and asks to get a picture of Miss Washington to include with the story.
I imagine slaves didn't have the pleasure of anybody wanting their picture back in the day either.
Probably not. Well, and she says that, Miss Washington says that she remembers when she was a child, somebody had come to the plantation where she was at and taken a photo of all of them. But she's like, that's a much smaller contraption than I remember.
Yes.
Because the one she remembered from when she was a child was like where they had the big thing that had to go over their head and they had to be perfectly still and couldn't move and all these things. And this was much, much more advanced at this point, technology.
Yeah.
And so she says, I wish I could see that picture again. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Oh, it was when she was in the camp. Someone took a picture of it. Mm-hmm. So then she goes back for more story, because at this point, Lorena is just eating this up. She has to know what happens.
Yeah, she couldn't stop if she wanted to.
And this was also the point in the story where I was like, I have to know what happens. Yeah. And at this point, I could not put it down. Yeah. And so I just kept reading one night. Like Cody wakes up at like 2 a.m. He's like, what are you doing? And it's like, I just can't put this book down. I have to know what happens.
And do you find that books sometimes, it's hard to find books like that these days?
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always excited when it happens, because not every book is that way.
No, yeah.
Some books are a slog that I'm just like, I gotta get this done.
Yeah, and there is nothing worse than trying to slog.
And I hate to not finish a book. Like,
Me too.
I hate to not finish a book.
A book has
Even
to be...
if I hate the book,
Yes.
I hate to not finish it more.
A book has to be extremely bad for me to not finish it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're back to it. She's telling him more. And so finally, Sam just tells Frankie that you're going to be my wife. The Lord told me that I was going to find my wife here and it's you. And she's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
She just totally blows him off.
Yeah. I always get just a little bit suspicious when anyone tells me, the Lord told me...
The Lord told me A, B, C, D.
Yes. Yeah, and one thing my mom has always kind of pounded in our head, I've heard Mom say this before, because when you go to a charismatic church, you're going to be hearing that. Somebody's going to tell you, the Lord told me to tell you this. The
God
Lord
said.
Yes, God has told me to tell you this. Well, Mom has always said, listen, the Lord's never going to tell you something about me unless he tells me first. Mm-hmm. He may use whatever you're saying as confirmation.
Yeah.
But and so just hearing Mom say that over the years, like, yeah.
It gives you a good foundation to work from, right? Because
Yes.
you can't just trust everything that everybody says.
You can't.
I'm very careful.
You have
very
to be careful about people speaking into your life.
That is absolutely it. And that was something my dad drilled into us at an early age. Just because someone says something to you does not mean that you have to receive it.
Yes.
So you test the spirit and you test it against the word.
Yes.
If it does not line up with the word, or if the Holy Spirit in you says no, then you don't receive that.
Yes, exactly. Well, and sometimes people don't know the voice of the Lord from the voice in their own head.
Absolutely.
There are people that think the voice in their head is the voice of the Lord, and not in a malicious way, but you have to be very careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do. So she just tells him, well, you just keep looking, because I ain't never getting married.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so funny.
Yeah.
But there are times that the Lord uses people to speak to us, like you said.
Absolutely.
And that's important. It's important that we be open to it, but also that, like you said, we have the discernment to know.
Yes, and let me tell you, when you get that confirmation, it's like a salve in your spirit.
It truly is.
It is literally is like a peace like no other.
Yeah, a balm, right?
Yes, yes.
So Sam respects her wishes and walks away, but he continues to leave her small gifts and just tokens of his affection.
Because when you like somebody, that's what you do.
He's just trying to woo her.
You just want to give them stuff.
And as even though she's still like denying it, her heart is softening. And at Christmas, he tells Frankie that someday he dreams of celebrating Christmas in his own home with their children and things. And I thought, oh, how sweet, Cause, but also I was like, my husband's never like opened up to me with things like that. Like, I don't know men that talk about things like that.
Yeah.
But how sweet that he did.
Well, and again, that's something I never really gave much thought to, but I imagine for slaves back in this day, Christmas Day was just another day to them because they were catering to the people celebrating Christmas.
And Frankie mentions that, how like when she was a child, it was the day that they got new clothing. They were given some new clothing and things like that, but nothing extravagant. Like their celebrations were nowhere near as extravagant as what was happening in the big houses.
Yes.
How sad. Like, how sad.
Yeah. Because I love Christmas. I can't imagine.
Yeah. So that Christmas, though, Sam gives her a gift, and he says that it was gifted from a woman that helped him when he left the plantation, and she told him, one of these days, this is going to mean more to you than silver or gold.
I love that.
I did too.
And it makes sense once you realize what the gift was.
Yeah, and Frankie's like, well, if it means that much to you, I don't want to take it.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I want you to have it, and when she opens it up, it's a book of Psalms.
And as Christians,
the Word of God is worth more.
Well, it is. It's so important to us, and we want to share it with the people around us. We want them to have that foundation just like we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The book immediately kind of is painful for her because of her memories with books. And
because she's not supposed to have them.
She goes back to the day that she was sold from her mom for taking that book. And she's just so mad about it. She just throws it under her bed, and she's like, it can stay there for the rest of the war as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And she kind of shoves it back at him, and she's like, I can't read. And I don't want the book or your God. And he just says, you're going to keep it anyway. Yeah,
he kind of tells her about God, and she grudgingly accepts it, basically just to keep an argument from forming.
Basically.
But yeah, she in her mind, she accepted it, but she knows she's not going to read it. She's not going to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're back in present time, and Miss Washington tells Lorena, she says, after I learned to read and I read the Psalms, I started to realize that regardless of the pitiful lives people sometimes live, it doesn't mean God isn't good and that he doesn't love us.
Isn't that so good?
She's right.
Yeah.
Bad things happen to good people all the time.
Yeah.
And we have no guarantee that we won't face trials and tribulations as followers of Christ.
Well, no. In fact, it's going to be the opposite because we live in a world that's very, especially these days, it feels worse than ever. Mm-hmm. Being a Christian is not popular. They do not like us. They want us gone.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's hard.
It is. It's hard to be a Christian. And you always hear people say, oh, well, you're using religion. You're using Christianity as a crutch. No, to be a true Christian in today's volatile society, it really is not easy.
It's not. It's not.
But he never said it would be, though. God never said it would be easy.
No, and he tells us very clearly that if we're ashamed of his name, he'll be ashamed of us before the Father in heaven. And so it's worth it to stand firm.
And how many apostles got put in jail for...
How many died?
In prison for and died for preaching the gospel and for standing up as a follower of Christ.
Yes.
So if it's going to happen... Well, and Jesus himself was murdered.
Yeah, and he says, they hated me, they will hate you because of me.
Yes, they hated me first, just know they're going to hate you too. And boy, that is true.
It's true, right?
Truer words were never spoken.
Yeah. So during all of this time in the Contraband camp, they're preparing because they know that a battle's coming. They've had word that the Confederate Army is moving up. They're going to try to retake Nashville. Mm-hmm. And eventually that does happen. And the Battle of Nashville was a real thing. And this Fort Negley, I think is what it's called. I never have
heard of the Battle of Nashville.
Was a real place. And so I thought that was really interesting. But as it happened, Illa has left and gone to help where there was already a battle. Mm-hmm. And has a hard time getting back.
Yes.
But Frankie decides she'll go help in the hospitals with the wounded. And so she's working day and night. And it does get kind of graphic in some of those parts about the descriptions. But it was graphic. It was not pretty.
It was not a pretty time.
Lots of men, more men. I think I read this somewhere and I'll have to fact check myself. But I believe, if I've read it correctly, more men died from infection from wounds than actually died
in battle. Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's terrible. So finally, Illa makes it back and she finds Frankie and comes to tell her that Sam was badly wounded. Mm-hmm. And they're not sure he's going to make it.
Yeah.
And then that's when Frankie finally is like, he has to make it. I love him. I want to marry him.
And isn't that how it is in life? Sometimes you don't realize what you want until you realize you may not have it anymore. And then it's like,
oh my gosh, I can't live without you.
I can't live without you. Yeah. And it's really sad that sometimes, because how much happiness and joy did she miss out on because she was so resistant?
Because she was holding herself back.
Yeah, but
holding on to hatred.
And we do that even today.
We do.
Not to this level, but we deny ourselves a lot of joy because we won't let go of stuff. I don't want to trivialize anything because Miss Washington's situation was not a trivial matter at all.
No. So eventually, though, Sam does pull through after much prayer and taking care of him and stuff, and she begins reading the Psalms to him and the men in his recovery room. Mm-hmm. And then
they really respond to it.
They do. They love it. It's comforting to them, right? Because the word is a comfort.
It is, even to people that, especially in a situation like this, even if they're not Christians or religious, as people like to say, there is something comforting about the word. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is life. I mean, it is the word of life.
Yeah. It's the word of light. It's the light of the world. Yeah.
So as they're laying there, though, one day he's like, hey, Frankie, you got to take that Bible and you got to go read to the rebel prisoners in the prison hospital. And she don't want to do it.
She didn't want to do it.
I can't say I blame her.
Yeah, no.
Think about the life she had lived. Like, that would be so difficult to humble yourself.
She's going into the lion's den of her trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she continues to refuse, and finally one night he very specifically asked her to read Luke chapter 6 to her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, he's never asked for anything that specific before. Okay. Yeah. And so she goes there and starts reading, and she's going along. And then she gets to verses 27 and 28, and she ain't liking that one bit.
Not one bit.
Because what does that say?
It says, but I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. Now, how many of us really like this verse? Because
no one. No one in our flesh likes that.
No, nobody in our flesh wants to pray for people that have talked about you, that have tried to ruin your life, because there are people out there today that will ruin our lives if they can. So our natural instinct is not to pray for those who despitefully use us and persecute us.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not at all.
Nothing has changed in that way.
So she finally is just like, I got to go talk to Illa about this and get some clarity about what I'm supposed to do. And Illa actually tells her, I don't think you should go, because if there's not actually love in your heart for these men, then it's going to do you no good anyway.
Yeah.
She says, the Apostle Paul tells us we can do great and wonderful things, but without love, without charity of heart, it's meaningless. Mm-hmm. And so Illa tells Frankie a very personal story, though, about how she really she had hatred in her heart towards other white people who owned slaves. Mm-hmm. And that it really was a journey she had to go on with the Lord to get free from that hatred before she could do the work that he wanted her to do. Mm-hmm. And so Frankie asked her, like, how did you overcome it? And she says, I didn't do it on my own. God had to do a work in my heart. And she said it was easier to hate. Hatred had been my constant companion for so long, I wasn't sure I could love, not the way they wanted me to.
Yeah. Negative emotions are so much easier.
Oh, yeah. Because it's our bent, right? It's our flesh.
It's our flesh. Yeah. Yeah. And like when if somebody says something bad about you, that's so much easier. Somebody can say 100 nice things about you. You let one person say something bad, what's the one thing that lives in your mind forever?
That one bad thing.
That one bad thing.
Absolutely.
It's so easy to discount the 100 good things for the one bad thing.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Frankie ultimately decides to do it. And that's when the Lord begins to heal her heart.
Yeah.
She starts to soften towards these
Isn't it
men.
amazing that he heals you in the place that traumatized you? That is such a God thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them are resistant to her being there. Others are not. And through all of that, she sees a young man that kind of draws her attention, and they have several interactions, and then one day it dawns on her.
Yeah.
He's recognized
missing an
her.
arm.
Yeah, he's missing an arm. She's helping him shave. This has been going on for a few days, and finally one day he notices the deformity of her hand, and he says, what happened to you?
Yeah.
And she tells him, and then she looks him in the face for the first time, really, and she realizes that, oh my gosh, this is her master's son.
Burton.
Her old master's
Burton
son,
Hall.
Burton, that watched all of it and witnessed it.
Yeah.
And can you imagine, like, coming face to face with the literal people who once owned you?
Yes.
The terror, probably, that would awaken you.
And two, you've also got it from the other side. Imagine being Burton and knowing my family did this to you.
Yeah. And even though he's fighting for the rebel cause, he probably didn't have much choice, is my guess. Like, I'm assuming that was one of those things where it's like, you will do this or.
Yeah.
And
I
so.
imagine, yeah.
She leaves, immediately she leaves, but then she comes back because the Holy Spirit just won't leave her alone. And she talks to him, and he tells her, like, after they sold you, everything changed. Nothing was ever the same. Their house was full of discontent, especially with Charlotte. And he eventually apologizes to her. And I just was like, I wonder if that ever actually happened.
I mean, I hope so, and I like to think so, but yeah, I wonder how many opportunities like that actually rose where you got to make amends.
Yeah. And because he asked her if she'll forgive him, and she says, I will never forgive you.
Yeah. The flesh.
Yeah, the flesh. Because she's still fighting that. Well, a few days later, it turns out that he's being shipped off with some of the other prisoners to Ohio, and they're going to have to march there. And he's scared. Like she says, they're getting their coats and stuff on. He's scared, and all of a sudden, she's hit with a wave of compassion for him, and she buttons his coat, and she tells him, I was wrong to tell you that I'd never forgive you. And then she says, don't let your missing arm rob you of the life that God gave you, and come home when the war is over.
Yeah.
And she tells him, you were young when your mom mistreated me, and this isn't your burden to bear. And so as he leaves, he tells her that Charlotte will be glad to know that Frankie is well, because Charlotte never forgot her.
Yeah.
So we're back to Rena as they tell that part of the story. Rena's like, I recognize that name Hall.
Yeah.
And so finally,
I did not see this part coming.
Me neither.
Did you?
No.
Yeah, like I was shocked by this. You know what?
Are we going to spoil it, or are we going to find out?
I want to talk about it, but we're going to go into a spoiler zone. If this is a book you think you'll read, stop listening here. Everything from here on is going to be very important spoilers.
It's very, very excellent. You should read it.
Absolutely. Read it. For those of you that are going away, we thank you for listening to us. Yes. Tune in next time. So go into the spoiler zone.
Okay, so she knows, she recognizes this name. So she goes back to her grandmother, and she's like, why do I recognize this name? Like, do you know anyone of the name Hall? and they start talking it out and realize that so her grandmother's sister,
Lorena's great-great-grandmother,
was a Hall.
A Hall, yeah.
And that her sister's name was Charlotte.
Yes.
And so they start going through pictures, and they find a picture of Charlotte and one that shocks Rena, a photo inscribed as Sadie Pope Hall and children. So Mistress Hall was her great-great-great
the one that broke that broke her hand with a fireplace poker was her great-great-grandmother.
Yes.
Imagine the horror of that.
Yes.
Especially when you realize, because by this point,
loves Frankie.
Yes, Lorena and Frankie are actually
They love
friends.
each other.
They really love each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Rena's like, I have to go tell her.
Yeah.
I have to go tell her. But she doesn't want to.
It would be
she knows
horrible
she has to
tell that, that my family did this to you.
Yes. Oh, and I think a part we forgot to mention, but we probably should. When they first meet, Frankie tells Rena, the Lord told me he would not take me home till I talked to you.
Yes.
And Sam had died 5 years before.
Yes.
And so she'd just been waiting, wanting to go home, but the Lord says, until you talk to this girl, I can't take you home.
Yeah, I love that.
So that was her whole motivation, right?
Yeah.
So Rena does go back to Frankie and tells her the truth, and they have a moment of like reconciliation and things like that.
And Frankie, to her credit, she never, because in your fleshly nature, it would be a valid reaction to be like, you know what, I don't want anything else to do with you. Leave my home.
Yes.
Frankie didn't do that.
No.
Frankie was such a picture of love and grace and mercy. And
she tells her, she's like, I hold nothing against your family because I really did let go of all of that hate when I came across Burton in that hospital. And so then she goes on to tell her that she and Sam did eventually marry and that they had a son. And then we learned that like all these other characters that we've been meeting along the way are grandchildren of hers.
Yes.
And that's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, I loved it.
And so like the next day she's typing up the rest of her report, and she gets a phone call from Alden, and he's just distraught. And Frankie had laid down and died in her sleep. And so the Lord was true to his word.
My eyes may have gotten a little bit moist. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm not one of those people that when I cry, I never have tears run.
Yes.
But, this part of the story really,
it
made me emotional.
And so they had become close to her great-granddaughter, Jael. And Jael invites them to the funeral and to the visitation and all these things. And they go, and they know they're going to be probably the only white people there.
Yeah.
But they go, and they are welcomed with open arms. And Jael hands a book to Frankie. She said, Grandma Fran left this for you. And it's the Book of Psalms. And she had written her a note inside it, which I thought was so beautiful. And she's like, I've got something to show you. And so she takes her back, which I guess this was still a thing where they did like wakes and they kept the body in the home for a while then.
Thank God we don't do that anymore.
That's kind of different, right? Like that's not a part of our...
I'd rather go to Ockers and
It's not a part of our death culture here at all.
No.
And so she takes her back there where they've washed her and laid her out, and she's like, look at her, really look at her.
Look close, yeah.
And so she starts looking her over, and she gets to her hand, and that hand is completely healed.
Yeah, the Lord healed her hand.
Okay, so I have thought about this. We don't do a whole lot of, like, they don't, unless there's a medical reason, they don't do a ton of testing on cadavers now, like if somebody dies or whatever.
Yeah.
But do you think that it's that way, that, like, as soon as a person passes from this world into glory with Christ, that they are immediately made whole? Because the Word does tell us that we will have glorified bodies.
I believe so, yeah.
It's that instant.
When we go to heaven, none of our afflictions are going to go with us.
Won't that be a glorious
I don't
day?
think, yeah.
Won't that be a glorious day?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really blessed to be pretty healthy. But I have family members that struggle with things.
Yeah.
Literally every single day live in chronic pain. And so, like, just the thought that someday they're not going to be in chronic pain.
Yes.
That is so exciting to me.
It is. I'm telling you, that's our hope. And we don't worship God because of that. We worship God because we love Him and we want that relationship with Him. But that's such hope to know that this fallen body that we live in, and not only our physical ailments, but it's a fight against the flesh every day.
Our brains, my mind, I fight with my mind far more than I fight my physical body.
Yeah. And just, can you imagine being free of that?
No.
There's a lot of prejudice in our world.
Yeah.
Imagine living in a place where that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It just,
It'll be glorious.
It's going to be a wonderful day.
Glorious.
I look forward to the day when the Lord calls us home.
Yeah,
But everything in life just leads up to that.
So they do go to her funeral. They bury her next to Sam under the shade of a tulip tree. Which I thought was beautiful.
Well, and through this whole thing, I never really understood where the tulip tree. Well, this is where.
That's where.
Yeah. I don't remember if the book that she hid the tree that she hid the book in, was that a tulip tree?
I don't think it said anything.
I don't
about
remember,
that.
but yeah. So like this is where the title comes from. They
Yeah.
bury her under a tulip tree.
So a few days later, Alden tells her, like, hey, I turned your manuscript in to the boss, and he said it's too long and they want some of the details taken out. It was just too graphic. Yeah. It didn't align with the narrative that they wanted to present. Isn't that so like the government?
They wanted a few generic questions answered, and of course, nothing that Lorena did was generic.
Right.
It really got into the crux.
She did
deeply.
still complete all of her other interviews, and they were far more that way.
Acceptable, yeah.
And so they were going to publish all those, but they weren't going to publish Frankie's. And so she's like, well, that's not going to work. So she takes it back to her former editor at the paper and shows it to him. And
this is her full circle moment right here.
His college buddy is the editor at
Collier's Magazine.
Collier's Magazine.
And this is one of the magazines in the very beginning that she, like, her ambitions were to publish in that
magazine.
To be published in this magazine.
And they love her story so much that they hire her to write a series of stories just like that one with all the details. And so how cool is that?
Amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I really loved this book. I thought it was really beautifully done. And again, if you don't have a lot of background in Civil War history, this is a great place to start. You can learn more things. It was heavy in places, certainly.
This is my favorite kind of book. I love books with heavier themes. I've come to learn I'm just not a fan of the sugary sweet, the saccharine,
fluffy.
The fluffy books. And again, we've said they have their purpose. Sometimes when you read a book like this, or 2 or 3 in a row,
it can be a lot.
Sometimes you need a little something fluffy sometimes you just don't want something heavy.
Well, it's almost like a decompression.
Yes.
Because a lot of these books that are weightier themes, for me, are emotional.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to feel negative emotions. People these days don't seem to want to feel anything.
That's true.
That's negative or that's uncomfortable.
That's
and
true.
I think that's a sad testament to our society.
Yeah, and I'll just get real for a minute. Like, there was a point in my pregnancy with Bellamy where I was just not coping well. It was a big surprise. I thought we were done. And so I ended up talking to my doctor and getting on some medicine to help with anxiety and depression. And there was a point in that, though, where it was like, I'm just not feeling anything. Like, it didn't just mute the negative, it muted everything.
Well, that's what they do, because I've been on them too. They literally turn you into a zombie where you feel nothing.
And I'll tell you, I was talking to the Lord one day. I was like, this isn't healthy either. Yeah. And so the Lord has been helping me.
Because He didn't create us to feel nothing. He created us to feel.
And it was very much a conversation of like, daughter, if you will come off of those and you will trust me to walk you through this process, I'll help you learn to manage those things.
Yes.
But truly for me, what it has been is, where they talk about in the New Testament about taking every thought captive to Christ. That's what I have to do on a daily basis.
That's what every Christian has to do on a daily basis. That's how you survive this world.
Yeah. So I'm thankful to be off of those now. They were useful for the time that I needed them. But I am thankful that the Lord is working me through that healing process and that I'm not having to be on that now. And I'm not saying if you need medicine, you need medicine. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But for me, it got to an unhealthy level of just having no emotions.
Yeah.
And so that's not good either.
Yeah. Thankfully, I haven't been on them in years either. But
I think there are seasons.
Yeah. We're not saying you shouldn't do them. If you're in a season where you need that, do it. Mm-hmm. The church in general, I'm not saying every church, but the church in general is very down.
Jesus should be able to heal you.
Yes, they're very down on going to therapy and being on medications if you need to. And I think they're doing church people a huge disservice.
Absolutely. And I will say that's something I've seen like in my local church shift in the last several years of like, For a long time, counseling was provided in-house, and now they won't even do that anymore. It's like, nope, if you need counseling, we're going to send you out to a professional.
Go to a professional.
Someone who can legitimately help you with these issues. Because they recognize that, like, mental health is vastly important. Yeah. And it has to be addressed.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was kind of a sidebar there, but...
Anyway, this was a phenomenal book.
We recommend it.
Yes. This kind of book is just really up my alley. So,
and from what I can tell, very well researched. Like, there were Quaker people heavily involved in the efforts to teach slaves to read and to get them prepared for life post-slavery.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that.
So I think that, I love that. I love when an author has done their research and that it is properly written. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I highly recommend it. I would give this one 5 stars.
Again, it's Under the Tulip Tree by Michelle Shocklee. Highly recommend. I can't wait to read more of her books.
No, yeah, I will
definitely will.
She was excellent.
So, anything else you want to talk about before we head off?
No, I appreciate you. Thank you for reading with me.
You too. I'm telling you, this is such a treat for me to have someone to talk with books about, because I don't really know that many people in my life that read. Yeah. So, like, I would enjoy this even if we weren't recording it and putting it out into the world.
Even if it was just you and me having lunch, chatting about a book.
Yeah.
We'd be happy.
Having some sushi and talking about a book. That sounds like a perfect day.
It does.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys doing this with me. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Go out and look us up. Follow us on Facebook. We're on Facebook. We're on
Apple Music, Spotify, Instagram.
All the major podcasts. I will say
Brett does a fantastic job administrating all of those things.
Oh, well, I hope. I'm not a trained video editor and audio editor, but I'm learning as I go. But I will say there is going to be a slight change coming up to what we're doing on the podcast in regards to distribution.
Okay.
Having a podcast is very expensive if you've never had one. The software that we record our podcast through is starting to do podcast hosting.
Oh, okay.
And so basically podcast hosting means I've got a podcast hoster that I upload our finished file to, and then they distribute it to like 20 different places.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it gets to Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple and Audible and all that. And I have to pay a lot of money for that. So Riverside, which is the software that we record through, they're starting to do web hosting through here. So probably April, May, I'm going to discontinue the other one because a lot of the, like I said, we're uploaded to like 20 different audio sites.
Sure.
We don't get listens from most of them. Yeah, like Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Audible. Those are the ones that we get the most listens for. I can get web hosting through all of those through Riverside now.
As part of your thing.
Yeah. So if you happen to listen on any of the ones, come April, you're probably not going. You may not start seeing us on those anymore. But we're still on the major ones. So like you may have to just switch where you listen to us. Yeah. I don't have a paid subscription on Spotify. I can still listen to podcasts on there.
I do pay for it, but
yeah. So you don't have to have a paid premium account.
And you still get access.
Yeah. I prefer listening on Pandora because for some reason when I listen on Spotify, if I have to stop listening and go back out, when I come back in, it doesn't save it. And Pandora does. So I tend to listen more on Pandora because I just want it to pick up where I left off. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
and I wonder, I'll have to check. That may be like a premium thing.
It could be. Yeah. It could be perk of premium.
I'll have to check. Because usually when I go back and watch, I usually watch on YouTube. Because I like to see everybody.
Me too. Yeah. That's really what I'm not a podcast person. But yeah, so anyway, so if you start noticing in the next few months that our episodes aren't showing up, it could be just that we've made the transition over to Riverside, and we're just posting on, and I would rather post on the platforms on a handful where we're actually getting views than to have it sent out to 20 platforms where half of them we're not getting any views anyway.
Right.
Or any downloads.
Certainly, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if that happens, just go look for us on Spotify.
Pandora, iHeart, because Pandora and iHeart are both free platforms. You don't have to pay for
exactly.
Unless you just want to.
Yeah, so we're still out there. We're not going away. You just may have to just move you may have to change how you're listening to us. All right, well, do you have any final words?
No, I hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great Valentine's Day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so,
I'll be back in about a month.
I don't even remember what we're reading, but...
Trophy Boy.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, have you started it yet?
No.
Okay, I do want to tell you guys, though.
I had to wait till I finished this one.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just read a fantastic book.
Okay.
It's called The Personal Librarian.
Okay, we were discussing this before the podcast. I have this now added to my Goodreads. I'm going to go read it.
It is secular. It's not Christian fiction, but it is clean. Like, I don't remember any profanity in it. There are some very light mentions of intimacy.
References to.
Yeah, references to, but it's nothing graphic. Oh my goodness, it is so good.
Okay, I'm going to go read it.
It's historical fiction, and it centers around J.P. Morgan.
Okay.
Back in the day, one of his life ambitions before he died was to have this massive art collection that would rival any art collection in the world. You know, and of course J.P. Morgan was a very rich banker, finance person, and so he hires this lady, which again in that time was very rare for a woman to get a job like this, and she was kind of frowned upon from the men. So she was an expert in art. And so she gets this job, but in order to get the job, she was a colored woman, but she and her family were very light skinned, so they had to pass themselves off as white in order to get the job. It was a very fascinating read. I don't know that we may discuss it at some point on the podcast. If I read good books, even if it's not the focus of our podcast, I kind of like to tell people about them. Well, we're going to get off here, listeners. We love and appreciate you guys so much, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Bookish Introverts podcast, where together we explore the worlds within the pages. Until next time, stay bookish.